Greetings and welcome to my channel. This is Sorcerer Tal. You can also find me on Facebook in the Sorcerers Guild. Today on Magical Theory, we are going to be discussing banishing. Now, when you have a discussion about banishing, you also are going to have to bring up, of course, purification and cleansing. But before we get into all of that, I'd first like to talk a little bit about when to banish. A lot of people choose to banish after every magical working that they have and keep their altar clean of all energies, whether they are summoning spirits or even just working on their altar. When they are all done, they will banish away all the energy and cleanse the entire altar after every spell. There is some validity to this path because you are always working with a fresh slate every time. However, there is also advantages to having things already written on that slate that you can continue to work with afterwards. Myself, I like to keep certain parts of my altar clean and purified, and other parts I actually allow momentum from other spells to stay manifested in that area so that I can use the potential from one successful spell to link that success to another spell of that same nature or of a complementary nature. And then let's get to about with spirits. I have mentioned before that I don't often banish my spirits. I prefer to do what is called giving them leave to depart. Often when we work with spirits, we are calling them forth and asking them to perform a task for us. And then we pay them in some way, some sort of sacrifice. Often it would be tobacco or alcohol, such as rum, Everclear, things like that, that are presented to the spirit in exchange for the task that is performed. Now, to me, it would take a while for the spirit to be able to enjoy these things properly. You want the spirit to be able to appreciate its payment. And that will make it more likely and more willing to work with you in the future. So I like to give simply a leave to depart for spirits that I'm working with. Other people do like to banish after every ritual and even will use circles to protect themselves from the spirits. To me, I like to establish a rapport with the spirits. I feel that banishing is not only rude, it shows a sense of fear. And when you're dealing with spirits, there is a lot of reputation involved. And the more that you get familiar with the spirits, the more you're able to establish a rapport, the more likely they are to work with you, and the less likely you are going to need to be able to banish them after every ritual for fear that they might pull some dirty trick, climb inside of something and stick around. There's not many spirits that would do those types of things, but if you banish all of the time and then don't one time, they might, because you've kind of kicked them out of the room. Banishing, to me, is something that we do when the spirit has overstayed its welcome or has refused to leave in some way. Okay, so let's go over the steps then. As I said, the first thing we would need to talk about is purification and cleansing. Purification is, of course, when you smudge the room with smoke or use other things such as songs, or even in extreme cases, you can use a piece of selenite and imagine your energy going down through the selenite, through your hands, down into the selenite, and projecting forward through an energy pattern with it. And this stuff is practically a astral eraser for energy patterns if you do that properly. So you want to channel the energy through your hands and imagine it going into the selenite and then coming back out as an energy in your octarine color or as pure white, and imagine it simply completely erasing any negative energy that is around you. Now, as I said, it is rather like an eraser, so you want to be careful and not direct this towards any part of the altar where you have any residual magic you have working or in progress into it, because it could disrupt them. It is a very powerful cleanser. Okay, and of course, with the cleansing, there's the purification of the areas around you, But also, sometimes you may be concerned that there's negative energy attached to you directly. You can do that with smudging as well. But a popular trick from hoodoo is to take an egg and rub it all over your body and imagine all the negative energy and any type of energy you want pulled out of you, simply being pulled out of you and into the egg. And then once you have done that, you would then take the egg and crack it and dispose of that egg. You wouldn't eat it, because then you would be eating all that negative energy. You would actually want to crack it into the toilet and flush it, something like that. And that is the ritual cleansings. And then the next type of the first type of banishing that we will talk about is the type of banishing where you are calling upon a higher power. Things such as the lesser banishing rite of the pentacle, or the LBRP, are of that nature. And you can also, of course, call upon a specific spirit. Often people will call upon their guardian spirits or protectors or specific gods or demons that they know that will create a vibration in the air that forces other spirits out. And they do this simply by manifesting their presence in a way that forces other things away, or some of them will consume that energy and pull it into themselves and away from you. And then there are the banishings that you will do on your own. For me, this is the preferred method. What I like to do is actually use my own personal sigil as a focal point and manifest my own presence strongly and push it and imagine it pushing out all other energy patterns and just shoving those away and out from me. And you can even imagine something opening up, like a portal that you are shoving those energies away from. And like I said, I like to use this rather like a fire extinguisher when I am summoning spirits. This is only used if the spirit absolutely has overstayed its welcome and needs to be pushed away. Then I will imagine my personal sigil being drawn within myself and then pushing out and forcing my presence through the entire circle and through my altar and pushing out all other energy patterns that are not connected to me. Okay, so that will be it for this episode of Magical Theory. Don't forget to join us on Friday, where I will do a demonstration of how I do my personal sigil banishing, as well as ritual purification and cleansing of the area beforehand, using both sweetgrass moat, selenite, and the copper tube method, where I actually blow the smoke in a controlled direction through the pipe and into the areas that I want to cleanse and purify. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please take the opportunity to do so now. Until then, bright blessings and an interesting fate. This has been Sorcerer Tal.